That's how you get your rock card.
Pretty much the requirement.
We're going to put this song on. If you don't like it, you don't get your card. Hello and welcome to Music Musing. My name is Craig Seibert, and today I will be joined by my brother George Seibert. We love to talk about music. We're passionate about it, and it's a big part of our lives. Every once in a while we have these conversations, and we thought we'd just like to share those with you. So if you love music, sit back and enjoy this podcast. Okay, welcome back to Music Musing, number 10. Got George on the line. Yeah. How you doing?
Good.
Number 10.
Ready for this one.
I still haven't got it out on iTunes yet. I'm working on it, though. I'm working on making a decision pretty quick. But I'll kind of start off by saying, you guys can find us at musicmusingfeedback@gmail.com. Or you can find this. We posted on all the social medias. I posted on Twitter, put it on even LinkedIn for me. Facebook, you can look up George Seibert or Craig Seibert, Sybert, and you can find us on there and look this stuff up.
Yep.
So we took number 10 seriously, and it might be cliche. It might be totally cliche, but we are doing our top 10 songs. And
I don't think serious scratches the surface. I was lying awake at night over this.
Yeah. Oddly enough, I have a friend of mine that does movie reviews, podcasts, his Berk Reviews, Berk Reviews. And he's invited me to come on and do a top 5 movies as well. So it was doubly painful for me to deal with these two like back to back. So, but I mean, it's no, no outside fun stuff, no, trickery. It's our top 10 favorite songs. And before we get into it, I wanted to touch on just 2 really quick things. And you already said it. You stayed up, late nights trying to figure out what your top 10 were. And, we talked about it a little bit before, but you're just like me. I wrote down 35 songs before I even started thinking of whittling them down.
Right. Well,
go ahead.
I know you and I are slightly different in the fact that I have one singular favorite song of all time. And it's because of, to me, it's 100% the complete song, and we'll get to that eventually. But the rest of it is, and I said, I don't know if I coined a phrase or in my mind or when I was talking to myself about this, about, these are situationally interchangeable. Like, I've got a top 10 song list for just about every mood I'm in, probably. I've got a top 10 list for basically every band that I listen to, more or less. And I've got, so this was a complete struggle. And like you said, I had, 50 before I even thought about, a top 10. I mean, I know what my number 1 is always, but it's changed with age. I mean, and we talked about this previously, that if you'd asked me 10 years ago, you got a really different list with a whole bunch of the same band on it.
But I mean, it even goes to say that, if I asked you 10 minutes ago, 1 or 2 might pop in and out. So
yeah, because you asked me, we brought this up a week or so ago, looking for it, and it's changed 10 times since then, even so.
Yeah, so I think that was the 2 things I kind of wanted to touch on with that, was that it was difficult. It was extremely difficult to do it, and when I posed it to you, it was more of a fun thing, but the more I thought about it, the more I thought...
The more serious it got?
And the more, again, the more cliche it felt, but I think that kind of fits what we do. It kind of fits our talks.
I think this is absolutely perfect. I mean, because, again, every single one of these is opinion-driven, and it's to provoke thought, and like I said, if somebody said, Paradise by the Dashboard Lights was their favorite song, I would fight them tooth and nail why they're wrong.
Right, right, exactly. And it is totally our opinion. And this is, I try and keep the podcast that we do fluctuating a little bit. I kind of keep it to where, 1 week we do something that's a little more technical, and then 1 week we do a little more personal. And I know we just kind of had a personal one not too long ago with our out there songs that we enjoy, and then favorite lines. But I we do this because we enjoy doing it. We do this because we enjoy talking. So, without further ado, we will go back and forth. We'll bounce back and forth. I did steal this from Jon Berkenfield because he's cool at doing movie podcasts. But we'll go back and forth, and we'll again. I don't really have a number one per se, and I know you do. I know you.
Are you doing a countdown, or are you starting with number one?
Well, I'm gonna start with 10. I'm gonna start with 10.
Okay,
I mean, I've just got them in, written down. I don't necessarily have them in order,
right.
but I'll kind of bounce back and forth with it. I know you're number one. Spoiler alert: you've got a number one that's never gonna move. But but I'll actually let you go first. You go ahead and jump in with what do you got? What do you got at the bottom of the list?
The bottom of my list is by no means the bottom of the list, but it's "Cumbersome" by 7 Mary 3.
And we talked about this before, but let's step back, and because this song's going to be one of them, I know. Words are really important to you.
Yeah.
I think we determined that in a couple podcasts ago that that because of where we come from in music, with me playing guitar in a band and really focusing on guitar.
Oddly enough, let me interrupt you. Oddly enough, the guitar riff that starts the song is why I can't turn it off.
But I know that opening line is still.
Oh yeah.
It's still where your bread and butter is, but it's odd because when I looked back through my list, most of the songs I have on my list are extremely guitar-driven openings to songs. Yeah. But
likewise, most of mine are lyrically driven.
Right.
But the music, to me, this was. I tried to narrow it down to total package. Songs I love the riff in. I left out, but lyrically they were kind of cheesy, or lyrically they were poignant, but the music didn't hold up, or even the vocal performance. That's kind of my process. I went through this like with a fine-tooth comb, and these are like my. Like, if I can't turn them off. Like if I pull up to a parking spot and the song is on, I leave the car running type of songs.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we were going for on this.
Absolutely.
And I even have one on my list that the song, the words are chilling to me. The music is okay, but the vocals on it are just killer. But let's jump back to your number 10. So "Cumbersome" by 7 Mary 3.
Yeah.
Great band.
Phenomenal.
I've said this before. There's some YouTube videos out there of those guys.
Yeah.
Not too recently, but maybe in the last 5 or 6 years. Just the guitar player and the singer out there doing acoustic stuff, and man, his voice is just
it's epic.
Chilling.
And that song, I think, showcases the rock side of it just
Agreed.
As well as anything. He's a great acoustic melodic singer, but I mean when he gets down to the gravel, it gives me goose. It's unstoppable. It's really hardcore. It is.
I again, with talking about fluctuating in and out, that could fluctuate in and out on my list. It's one of those ones that, I mean, I've got a little closer endearment to it because,
sure,
my local band got to open up for them and I got to meet those guys and it was amazing. But I was already a fan of their music anyways.
Right.
But that song, still when it comes on, I'm like, I'll listen to this. I can do this.
Absolutely.
Number 10. So. Dang, what we should have done was tried to figure out how many we could, how many of yours were on mine and mine was. I doubt there's going to be any of your. Well, you know what? I think there's going to be one on mine that's going to be on yours. One. That's my guess right now.
All right, I would wager other than "Cumbersome," I highly doubt you've got any that I have.
We'll see.
I'm telling you. Go ahead.
So
what's your number 10?
Number 10, it squeaked in and out. So I went back and forth with this a couple times, but "Too Fast for Love."
Yeah, see, that's really
so. Motley Crue is a party band. They are a fun band. They wrote some pretty darn good music in the 90s, but their first album for me is
good. I wouldn't knock that. Yeah,
it's extremely underrated. It is the crossover between glam, punk, and rock. And it brought those genres together and really started pushing hair metal up. I'm not saying they're the only band that really pushed that genre out of glam or hair metal, or into it, whichever way you're looking at it. But when that song comes on, when that song comes on, the opening guitar part is just it rings with me. And again, we talked about how we have connections to songs, and when I first started playing guitar, the guy that I was learning from was teaching me riffs from that album. And so to look back at that and to still hear, I mean, even like a merry-go-round on that song, on that album is really good. But Too Fast for Love when it starts up is just one of my
Wasn't there a Beatles cover on that song, on that album too?
I don't remember.
Helter Skelter.
Is that on that one, or was that on
I think
the
so.
next one? Let's see, because I'm kind of curious now.
But that was like 81, right, when that first album came out, right?
Yeah, it was. Let's see. When Motley Crue.
But no, I agree that the album is completely underrated, and I think they actually went marginally slowly downhill after that, personally. I mean, I've never been a huge Motley Crue fan, but I think their first album was probably one of their best.
Yeah, I think I kind of feel that the same way about that with Bon Jovi's first album that has Runaway on it. Yeah. I think Runaway is a really big game changer for me. I really like that first album of theirs more than I really kind of like anything that's on there. Yeah, Shout at the Devil was the second album. I think that one had Helter Skelter on it. Let me see what's on this one.
Ooh, I'd wager money it was on Too Fast for Love.
It's actually not. Oh, Starry Eyes is on there. Wasn't that a cover?
I don't know if it was a cover or not.
Yeah, it's not on there. It's actually on the other one, on the second one.
No.
The second album. But yeah, regardless, again, it was very... It pulled from a lot of different genres, and again, it was a time when I was really listening to that type of music because I wanted to play, and that guitar sound that Mick Mars had was where I wanted to be when I started. And it's also where I was because I had a really cheap processor through a really cheap amp, and it kind of emulated that sound.
And that's what it sounds like.
That's what it sounds like.
By default.
But it was raw. It was really, it was kind of like the grunge of the 80s type stuff. So, But yeah, that's my 10. What do you got for 9?
For 9, Learning to Fly by Pink Floyd.
Oh, man. That's the song that kept bumping out for that number 10 song.
Really?
I
see, now I went back and forth between that album is completely underrated to me. To me. Everybody gives The Wall all the credit.
It's always overshadowed by The Wall.
If you listen, I mean, it was a coin. This is God's honest truth. It was a coin flip between that and On the Turning Away, because On the Turning Away is this lyrically staggering achievement in Pink Floyd's library to me.
Yeah.
But Learning to Fly is just this beautiful, well-written, well-produced, well-mixed song of just, it's, to me, that's Pink Floyd in a song. Everybody, The Wall and Brain Damage, and Dark Side of the Moon, and I love Pink Floyd.
Well, I will say that when I say a Floyd song was bumping up against it, it wasn't that one. So I actually got turned on to The Wall, the soundtrack, which is actually a different album than The Wall.
Than the album.
There's a couple songs on there that aren't on the actual The Wall album. There's also some background noise over some of the songs where it's how it's played in the movie.
Right.
So the songs are slightly different. But I think it's When the Tigers Broke Free is the one that I get chills every single time I hear the opening line of that. And that was what was actually going to bump in, but it was a Pink Floyd song. Learning to Fly is a great song. You said Learning to Fly or Comfortably?
Learning to Fly.
Learning to Fly is a great song. It's just one of those ones that, we talked a couple weeks ago about songs that got overplayed and stuff on the radio, and you only hear the certain ones, and man, you just always hear that one or
see, I guess
Wish You Were Here.
Oh yeah, but see, maybe it's down here. It's tapered off in the last 10 years. I mean, cool. I very rarely hear it, and it again, for me, it's lyrically. I mean, to listen to the lyrics of that song, it's pretty amazing to me. And again, still.
No, the lyrics are still. Don't get me wrong, they're still amazing. But Yeah, I think it's just oversaturation for me.
Sure.
That I have, issues with it at that point, but it's only because of that I didn't put it on my list or put the other one on my list because, man, I'll again, we're gonna put up Spotify lists of all these, and I'll add that to it. If we mention some weird songs and stuff that don't end up on our actual list, I'll probably go ahead and throw them on there anyways, just so people can hear them, and I'll see if I can locate that one and put that on there. But
cool. So what's your number 9?
Okay. So it's a band that I've been listening to recently called Volbeat.
Nice.
Heaven or Hell.
Really?
Have you heard it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Heaven nor Hell.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, Heaven nor Hell.
Yeah.
Again, opening riff, that classic Les Paul sound through Marshall, muted to where it cuts off really quick, just throws me into it. And the words are really deep. I mean, I don't know if you've listened to the words, but the words are really deep. And it's one of those kind of fun songs. I would say it kind of fits in the vein of She Is Beautiful by Andrew W.K.
Careful. Don't. You gotta say no. It's not on my list, but I thought about it because that's all.
I did too, because when I thought about it too, I'm like, you know what though? I like that. I like Volbeat's kind of one of my go-to bands recently, and I really like a lot of their stuff. Period. They make a really good mix of kind of rockabilly rock and a little bit of metal, and I love his voice.
I don't know if I've ever said it to you, and I don't want to say it because once I say it, you can't unhear it. I know that's a stupid phrase, but. And I don't think I'm going to, because I don't want to ruin the illusion, I guess. I mean, and that being said, I like Volbeat and a lot. They got, I mean, when was it Warrior Call or Warrior's Call?
Yeah, Call the Warrior. Yeah.
Something when
the new one that just came out hasn't been out very long.
No, yeah. I mean the first song that they released.
A Warrior's Call.
Fight,
Yeah, a Warrior's Call. That's it.
I really, really was on board. And then I dug a little deeper. I'm like, well, these guys are great. And I didn't really give it a second thought, but somebody said something to me.
Go ahead. You can break the facade. I'm good.
The guy said, yeah, I love Volbeat, but in some of the songs, the guy sounds like the Swedish Chef singing. And I can't.
Well, you could say the same for like
I know, but I can't. I can't. No. It leaves this stinging, like, damn it, feeling when I hear some of their songs now because. And anyway, I'm not going to focus on that because I do like Volbeat, and I forget which song he said, but anyway, I'm not going to.
That's funny. I'm about to go back and listen to my albums again and see
like
if I can figure it out.
The Devil's Bleeding Crown, I think, is the one that he said. He's like, man, I love that song, but it's like just at one point, it really sounds like the Swedish Chef singing.
That's hilarious.
So it's one of those.
So hit me with your 7.
8.
I'm sorry, 9, 10. Yes, 8. That's what I said.
Church by Gary Clark Jr. It was off his most recent, his second sophomore release.
Yeah, you mentioned him the other day, one of the other podcasts, and I went and started listening to him, and not my bag, but amazingly talented. Holy crap, that guy's talented.
He's a mix of Stevie Ray Vaughan and Muddy Waters and there's
blues. He's blues. You can just leave it at that.
He is, but he's
it's a lot of mix.
But there's a rock influence, and then there's a gospel influence, and then there's just the guy's really. I mean, that song particularly, he plays guitar, harmonica, kick drum, and sings.
Right.
At the
That's
same
what I said.
time.
Talented dude. I certainly would take nothing away from. Again, it's not. I'm the blues and blues rock blues are just kind of those ones you were talking about mood earlier.
Right.
I almost have to be in a pretty outside mood to get into that music heavily.
Right.
Again, I'll listen to it if it comes on the radio. I'm certainly not going to turn it off, but to search it out and to kind of search people like him out, I would have to be in the mood for it. But I certainly see a lot of talent in that kid.
It actually, I actually bumped Stevie Ray Vaughan off my list for him, which is, if anybody knows me, that's saying something.
Well, I could see that. I could definitely see it though.
But anyway, that song "Church," again, lyrically impressive as hell. His vocal performance is staggering, and it's very simple. It's acoustic guitar, a kick drum, and a couple female backup singers, and it's really, that one really pulls me into that mood. If I hear it, it really grabs me, and I can't turn it off. So,
you're gonna love my number 8.
Go ahead.
And by love I mean hate. I'm almost embarrassed to say this because you're gonna fall.
No, you don't know that.
Give Me 3 Steps by Leonard Skinner.
That's not. My lack of infatuation with Leonard Skinner is the Freebird / Sweet Home Alabama thing. It is so. There are gross overstatements, and then they like almost force feed Leonard Skinner to be the champions of Southern rock, and there's a lot of great music, and they themselves did a lot more great things. They had a lot of great songs. Mr. Saturday Night Special is an amazing song, they have a great catalog, but I'm overhearing the name, I guess. So, but Give Me 3 Steps is a great, fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a great, fun song. It's well written. It tells a great story, and it's.
I think lyrically, it's a really fun and awesome story.
Absolutely.
But it's actually told and sung really well. I mean, the words are arranged really well in the song. That opening guitar riff again, even though it's not like driving hard rock, it's still one of those extremely noticeable. Like as soon as it comes on, I know what song it is immediately, and I'm gonna sing it. I'm gonna sing it at the top of my lungs. My wife and kid hate it. They hate it when I sing that song, but I know every word to it, backwards and forwards. I can tell you every word to it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those ones that I will turn up and I will sing with every single time it comes on. Every single time.
Yeah, no, I would love for that to come on instead of Sweet Home Alabama. I know in previous podcasts I've mentioned the 3 major radio stations in the greater Tampa Bay area. They all 3 play Sweet Home Alabama. I mean, in heavy rotation, like it just released this week. It's so
okay. We are finally at number 7 that I tried pushing earlier, but you can give me your 7.
This one might surprise you. Jesus Built My Hot Rod by Ministry.
Okay, first off, it doesn't surprise me. It surprises me that it's kind of low on your list, but no, that's pure energy.
I just say it's adrenaline from the drop of the hat, and it doesn't stop. Yeah. It is 100%. Yeah, it's in your face from the first note. It literally, that little speech at the beginning, and then it like literally punches you in the face and holds its hand around your throat until 4 minutes later when it lets go. It's completely mindless, I don't really care what he's saying. It has nothing to do with that. That is completely the guitar riff and that driving that double kick. It's like it's unimpressive. It really is. There's nothing to it. I mean, there's a kind of a guitar solo 3/4 of the way through it. Lyrically, it's I want to love you, and it's I don't even know how to put it into an explanation, but it's just it works.
Honestly, you can put a song on this list because you like it. It doesn't have to mean anything.
No, that's just it. That when that song comes on, it's like yes, it doesn't matter what, especially if I'm in my car. Then speeding tickets are possible because it just you want to push on the gas pedal. But
my number 7 is a relatively new band again as well. They've had a lot of albums out, but they're not really mainstream much at all. The name of the song is I've Got Friends, and it's Manchester Orchestra. And I caught the song once listening through an alternative station on Pandora. And I actually looked the band up and went and found a bunch of their stuff and just started listening to it. And wow, it's kind of like the perfect mix between rock and what was the band? Silver Sun Pickups.
Okay.
Like I like to listen to Silver Sun Pickups, but they're almost too melancholy for me. Almost too.
Yeah, they're Black Keys.
Yeah, that's kind of that the Black Keys feel.
Whiny, bluesy rock. Yeah.
But it kind of the Manchester Orchestra, the guys, the way he sings kind of adds more passion to what Silver Sun Pickups have, and then adds a little more heavier guitars to it. And I really am digging the band. In fact, I just listened to what's the name of the other album that I can't think of the name of the other album. I'll look it up in a second. But I just listened through their other album last night while I was sitting and sorting through some stuff in my rooms, and the guy's voice is chilling. I mean, their songs. It reminds me a lot of the guy from Seven Mary 3.
Really?
I can't think of his name. The singer from Seven Mary 3.
Yeah, if somebody had a gun in my head, that's not the question I was thinking about.
So that's kind of where it fits on my list. It's one of those songs that when I heard it, I started looking at their stuff, listening to their stuff, sorry, and I kept going back to that song and listening to it again, and going back to that song and listening to it again, and just fell in love with the whole genre of that type of music. And now I'm picky about those bands I pick out of that genre. You know, like Silver Sun Pickups. Yes, I'll listen to one or two songs, but Manchester Orchestra is just something I will absorb everything they've got. So
yeah, and to be clear, I'm sure I've never heard the song in my life, so I'll definitely have to check that out. That's what I think. That's mostly what this is about, kind of, but sort of.
Well, it that's what Spotify. I got to say, Mike Simmons, the guy that does the sales podcast I listen to, Catalyst Sale, he's the one that kind of turned me on to this idea of putting a Spotify list up for our stuff. I really feel stupid that I didn't get to it before.
That's one of those straight black line things that you just step over and you don't even think about. It's too easy, I guess, or one of those things.
It's funny too because I was out at a conference in Phoenix the first part of the week, and he was out there, and we just stood and talked for half an hour, and I actually quizzed him. I said, "What's your top 10 songs?" He's like, "Oh man, that's killer. I don't know if I could do that." Yeah. And we went back and forth a little bit last night, and he was picking songs like, he said, talking about bands, Pantera and Eminem and Korn and Iron Maiden. So he's kind of the older type rock, but he listed songs like "Shoot to Thrill," "Comfortably Numb," "Tom Sawyer," "Born in the USA," "Santeria," which I thought didn't even come close to fitting. I was like, huh? That's weird. And then "Higher Ground" by the Peppers and "Black" by Pearl Jam. And, those are kind of classic rock stuff and classic songs that, if I had a top 100 list, some of those songs would probably make it on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was interesting that, you're right. It's kind of it is more of a share, but it's also telling our personal feelings about music that we love. So.
Oh, yeah.
So what does that bring you to on 6?
It's pretty much an open window. I mean, this is, my number 6 is, it was a Temple of the Dog song that Chris Cornell re-recorded acoustically live. It's called "Call Me a Dog."
Yeah, I think we mentioned it in one of the last podcasts too. Yeah,
and but lyrically, his vocal performance. I think when you strip, I mean, he's one of my favorite singers ever anyway. But when you strip away the production, when you strip away the talent, shows up. That's always been my thing. If you do a live acoustic set and you suck, well, I mean, it's in the production. If you do a live acoustic set and people name their babies after you, then the talent, that's where the talent is.
Yeah. I think when we talked about it before, I went back and listened to the Spotify list again and just to listen to that song. And I think I put the original one up anyways.
Right. But the acoustic version is way more intense.
That's what I'll do is I think this time I'll go ahead and put up the acoustic version if I can find it on Spotify, because I did listen to it. I just didn't put it on the Spotify list. And you're right. It is. Well, I mean, when that group came together and they created that album, there was writing genius left and right in that album.
Out of that band, right?
Musically and lyrically. So, right. So 6 is one of the ones that I thought might show up on your list. I think my number 2 is probably on your list, but for me, it's "Stars" by Hum.
No, it's not on my list, but
Yeah,
That's a great song.
Yeah, that I love that band. I definitely will push that band any chance I can get, anyways.
Right.
But Hum is one of those really non-known bands from the early grunge era, kind of crossover into rock. But Stars is one of those songs that it's way overplayed. I'm gonna just lay it out right now. It is way overplayed. When they play a song by Hum, it's gonna be Stars.
Oh sure, well yeah, I think they almost, and we've talked about this too, the music industry and so on and so forth. But I think they try to force bands like that into a one-hit wonder type of feeling, i.e., Screaming Trees or Silverchair.
Yep.
They try to force, because we've got enough of that. You know what I mean? So just give them one hit, give them some money and move on. But and Hum, much like Silverchair, I think was a great band. They had a lot of great talent and a lot of great potential, but they, I really feel that the market was flooded and they kind of fell through the cracks. But Hum is an amazing band. I really agree with you 100% on that.
And that's what a great song. In that spot? I guess we're on next. That's number 5, right?
Yeah, my number 5 is the one that I figured might be on your list was "Don't Bring Me Down" by ELO.
Oh, well, I have one similar to it, just different band. We'll get to it, but no, it's not on mine. But certainly a lot of nostalgia in that song.
It's like it's comfort food.
Yeah, it is. Oh man, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Mine is too.
That song is literally, like fried chicken with, buttered bread and biscuits or whatever you want to call it. It's just meat and potatoes. Late 70s, mid late 70s, I think 77, 8, somewhere in there, maybe 9. Just rock and roll. I mean, for the time, but it was really heavy for the time. I mean, it was pushing that. I mean, Jeff Lynne, I think, is an amazing singer, songwriter, producer, everything. But he did some really weird. I mean, he was really out there on a lot of their stuff.
Look at the song "Mr. Blue Sky."
Exactly.
I mean, it's out there. I mean, it's kind of almost campy.
Right. It's. I mean, it doesn't border strange. I mean, it's camped out right dead center.
Yeah.
But "Don't Bring Me Down" is glorified radio, late 70s radio, rock radio.
I think it was that move from disco. I think it was disco really kind of starting to die off, and
it was. And the song, I mean, I know it holds special meaning for me, between our family or whatever, right? I guess, but it really just a happy rock song. I mean, it's "Don't Bring Me Down." I mean, it's not lyrically brilliant or anything like that, but it's,
Have we ever figured out who Bruce is, or do we even care? Or...
And see, I watched a documentary. It was never, he's changed it since, but there was always Caruso.
I know.
And everybody changed it, so he just went ahead and changed it too. But I mean, lyrically,
that story just makes me laugh every time.
I know. But the song itself is just the drum beat, the guitar riff, the singing it just makes me happy. It's one of those I can't turn off. I listen until the very end when the door closes. And if anybody knows that song, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep. Well, if they listen that long, yeah.
The door. There's a door closing at the end, which like ends the song, and it just truly that little things like that's what makes me happy, and that's why that song was so high on my list at number 5.
So number 5 was 2 songs for me, and I'll tell you why. Because I put a song in this spot that is one of my that I will crank up every single time, but it really makes me feel almost wrong for doing it. And I realized when I thought about it that there's actually a song on the album. This album was crucial for me musically and for playing guitar, but there's another song on that album that I think is actually a better song, and that I will listen to because the second half of the song almost changes beats per minute and turns into an amazing song, and that's "Rocket Queen" by Guns N' Roses.
That's on your list, or that's the second song?
No, that's the second song. I actually put "Paradise City" in there first And I'm like, it's a good song. I love that song. I will listen to that song full blast at the end of that song all the time. But I think Rocket Queen is a better song, and I would appreciate that song a lot more. And I think that's why Rocket Queen fits on my top 10 instead of Paradise City at this point.
Yeah, that's valid. I have a hate-love relationship with that. I hate to love that album because I think I don't really care for Paradise City, but I think Welcome to the Jungle, when that song first came out, I was like,
yeah,
dang, that's pretty impressive, and then, to listen to, like Mr. Brownstone, that whole album, I mean, that you could have wedged that whole album in there somewhere.
That's what I was saying.
As a front to back album, because it's.
But if I went to one where, this would be a song where I would literally put my headphones on and sit in a dark room and tell everybody to leave me alone while I listen to Rocket Queen, because that drum beat that starts it out is amazing. When you get to the end of the song and it basically changes over and almost starts another song, it's chilling, and I got goosebumps now just thinking about it. Yeah. But that's why I put that on there in place of Paradise City. Paradise City is a great song. I'll listen to it at any time, but I think Rocket Queen more fits what I'm doing with my list. So
we'll see. As a quick side note to that album, it's so easy. That song, when I first heard that song, it blew me away. It changed my idea of music. It changed the way I thought about,
Yeah.
That's when the heavier. I'm like, wow, these guys are. I couldn't figure out why they were dabbling in that, like radio crap, because I thought their heavier stuff was really a lot better, and I think I kind of shunned them before that because they kind of tried to blur that line between, we're really hard asses, but we really want radio play feel.
Right.
I don't know, but that song, It's So Easy, is incredibly well written and performed, and very well, very scarily well done.
What do you got for 4?
This one, I know I've said it before, and it may throw you. It might throw you a little bit. I don't know. I said that about some of the other ones, but Threes and Sevens by Queens of the Stone Age.
I love that song.
I can't not listen to that song when it's come. I mean, we're getting towards the top of the list now, and I cannot stop listening. I listened to it twice, actually, because it's like, because the guitar, that catchy hook.
It's already in my head. I mean, it's going to be there for the rest of the day, because I would almost have to make that my honorable mention. I mean, I kind of had a side song to use as an honorable mention, but I would say that is probably up. That, or there was another one.
Go with the flow.
Go with the flow. Yeah, go with the
Queens
flow.
of the Stone Age is that guy's Jeff Holmes or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Wow. But
I certainly will take nothing from you on that one. That's a pretty good choice. I could have flip flopped those two songs as well.
Yeah.
Which one would fit in that spot? But yeah, I could certainly see one of that being in one of my honorable mentions. So
no, Threes and Sevens is far. And there's a on YouTube there's a brilliant acoustic version of it where he basically, like, he's having conversation, like, at the beginning and through it, and with the other band members, and it's just his interaction. It's an acoustic version of it, but it adds to it somehow, but I mean the original album version of the song is staggering to me. I love his vocal performance. I love the guitar, the riff, and the hook is just,
You said hook.
Yeah.
So let me talk to you about my number 4 song. So sit down. You got a drink and sit down, because okay.
I'm ready.
So Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show. They were actually invited on to Shel Silverstein's boat to basically play.
Right.
The band came on. They did a video recording. They recorded it, at that point in time, probably, actual film. But there's a performance of a song that I already like anyways, which is Carry Me, Carrie, by Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show. And the song is powerful anyways. If you listen to the words and the way he sings it, the way he sings it, I'm going to have to look up the guy's name. The way he sings it is just chilling anyways.
Right.
But to watch the version that's on the Shel Silverstein boat, is, I don't know how to explain it. I really don't.
Yeah.
It's
life-changing.
It is. And
I know we kind of overstate that sometimes, but some of these songs are, I mean, and they're not for everybody, but you and I hear certain songs well, I mean, we're obviously in the top 5 now, but I mean, it does. It changes your life. It changes the way you say things. It changes the way you hear things. Side note, not to take away from your story, but I went to see, years ago, on a kind of a whim, I went to see Pussifer, Maynard James Keenan's, one of his side projects, in concert.
Right.
And he did this probably hour-long monologue while he was setting up the instruments and the band and the stage for the band's performance.
Right.
And then they did, and dear God, I just dropped the song like a complete, well, the lyrics are, I'm about to, the Rapture, and
by Blondie?
No, by Pussifer, where
gotcha, okay.
Where he's some of the lyrics are, I'm about to drop you like Cain dropped Abel.
Ooh, deep.
Yeah, but I mean, he was basically saying he was basically monologuing these songs. I didn't get it until he started playing them. He was telling a story while he was setting this up, but it was actually the songs. And then when the band came out, it changed it literally forever changed the way I saw music live.
Wow.
It did. So when, like you say, when you see that performance on a live performance on a boat, from the 70s or early 80s, whenever that was, it changes perspective. It does change your life. I don't know how else to put it. And I mean, I know it's putting kind of a serious level to it, but it does. Music is that important to me, I know for a fact, and for you, I'm sure it's probably right there too. Music affects my daily being. I mean,
yeah. And I think that's where I was going with it. I think I've heard this song before, again, our mom and dad used to put Dr. Hook and Eagles and everything and ELO and stuff on the record players when we were kids, and I've heard these songs before, but when I went back and visited like everything they put out, that song just kept coming back to me, and I even tried learning to play it once, and it's a really hard song to sing with, but that song, and then to watch them do it live on the boat with Shel Silverstein was just, it was next level for me. It was above that, and you're right. It was it's something that, I felt the passion through it. So.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So where's that leave you?
We're in the top 3 now, huh?
Yeah, I know. So what do you got?
My number 3 song is "Down" by Stone Temple Pilots.
I've kind of figured there'd be an STP song on there. Not probably the one I would have expected, but why are you like that?
The power of the song. When it starts, but it's this, I mean, overdriven, over amplified, really heavy, crunchy guitar, but it's Scott Weiland's almost whispering melodic voice over it, which kind of somehow tames the music, and it ties it together so beautifully. I can't stop listening to it.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, this is all personal opinion, but I mean, it really, I love, I love Stone Temple Pilots. Their whole catalog is great to me. There's a few songs I would probably pick through, like, Trail Mix or something, but if I had to, but that was on kind of, on one of their last album, on number 4, on the 4th album, and I just, the first time I heard this song is like, wow, it's this, I mean, the bass is distorted, the guitar is heavily distorted, the drums are really heavy, and like I said, he almost, comes in whispering, pleased to meet you, nice to know me.
Yeah.
And it almost like it's this almost, it feels like this battle between good and evil almost. I don't know how to explain it. It really is just this amazing work for me out of a lot of amazing works. And I love Stone Temple Pilots, but that song always stuck out for me. And I've always kind of hung close to that song for some reason out of their whole catalog.
Yeah, it's certainly a good song. I'm not going to argue. I just, not the one I would have thought you would have picked or I would have picked myself. But, I am really literally gonna say my number 3 and kind of skip past it because it is certainly a guilty pleasure and it fits in with your ELO one, but it's so high on my list because it is one of those songs again where I will lock everybody out and put headphones that go around my ears on and turn it up. It's "Take a Chance on Me" by ABBA.
No, not even gonna argue.
I
Harmonics are I will go on and lie. There will never be 4 people that harmonize better than those 4 idiots did.
Yeah, I'm not going to apologize for it. I'm just going to move right on. I'm just going to let you tell me your number 2.
No need to. My top 2 are classic rock. But my number 2 is Roxanne by the Police.
What? That's totally not what I was expecting. Not what I was expecting. I honestly was expecting your number 2 to be my number 2.
Kind of I guess kind of a guilty pleasure too. But it's the simplification of rock and roll and his intent to sing it has always blown me away. It's very, very simple. Just that plink, 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 plink. No, I mean, the guitar's not, even the bass for, Sting being this, magical magician on the bass. There's nothing really impressive about the song except the song.
Right.
It's not, was an ode to a hooker or whatever it was, it really wasn't, it's not lyrically poignant. It's not musically brilliant. It's not it's just.
Well, I think, you can jump back to my number 3, and I said I wasn't going to dwell on it too long, but "Take a Chance on Me" is a very simple song. It's, sure. Hey, if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's come on back and let's do something.
Right.
And he's making a dedication to someone he met in the red light district. And they don't have to be super, super charged and super deep. I mean, a lot of them that are on our list do fit that, but sometimes it's just about feeling everything.
No, I just love that song. And when he gets to that where his voice kind of cracks there saying the name, it just, I have to listen to it. I mean, I have to wait for it. And then, I don't know. I've truly always loved that song, and it fluctuated, but it's always been right there in the top 3. I mean, when it's on, I have to listen to it type thing. So.
Well, here's where I'm going to make a statement that we started with, but I'm going to reiterate that statement. These aren't in any order. And
not necessarily, no.
My last 2 are only
situationally interchangeable.
Well, not necessarily. I think when I started the list, I wrote down a song immediately. I wrote down a song that I keep going back to for words, music.
Me too, my number 1.
Well, and I'm not going to say that one yet because it is my number 1 on the list.
Yeah.
But it's only because it's the first song that came to my mind when I thought of top 10 list, and it's in a very obscure song. I could give you 50 guesses and you probably wouldn't get it. But for my number 2, it's probably really my number 1 song if I had to pick one on this list that will reach out to me and just throttle me every single time, and that's my number 2, which is "Let There Be Rock" by AC/DC. I will.
There's no way to argue it.
That song is built to tell people what rock and roll is. If you want to explain to somebody what rock and roll is, you put that song on.
You
not only the music but the words.
There's not a possible way to explain it any better than you just did. When you said the name of the song, I smiled and got goosebumps.
I honestly thought that was going to be your number 2. I really did.
I wasn't. I mean, see, if I was picking an AC/DC, 100 times out of 100, I pick High Voltage.
Yeah, see, it's almost. I don't. Nothing I say about AC/DC is ever going to be bad,
No,
I wouldn't pick that song because it's too slow for me, but not that I don't like the song. But Let There Be Rock is
no. It is it is rock and roll on steroids that
yeah
just drank a protein shake and hit the gym.
yeah
It really can't. You can't. I mean, for being a number two, you really can't over stress the importance of that song
yeah
in rock and roll. And
no
I'm not even joking. This isn't even opinion.
no
This is just fact. If you
hmm
like rock and roll and you don't understand or don't like that song, you don't like
yeah
rock and roll.
exactly. Just hand in your card because it
Right.
is that's how you get your card is you listen to the song and you like it. That's how you get your rock card.
Pretty much the requirement.
We're going to put this song on. If you don't like it, you don't get your card. And
That-
again, like I said, I think that honestly, I could have written that down first, but the first song that I've got is
that could actually be like the
everything.
first three songs.
Yeah, exactly.
But when that song towards the end, and I will, again, I will take this. I will fight anybody over it. When it gets to the end and he runs out of breath,
and the guitar picks it up. Yeah,
I lose it. I really, really can't deal with it. I mean, it almost brings me to tears. How there are songs that people feel, and I know we've said this before. There are songs that people sing, and there are songs that people feel. Like I've always said, is Stevie Ray Vaughan didn't play guitar. Stevie Ray, his soul fell out onto his guitar.
yeah, exactly.
It's different. That, I mean, and Bon Scott was the same way with rock and roll.
Yep.
And that song was almost a next level of that feeling. His soul fell out and everything, the bass, the drums, the rhythm guitar, the lead guitar, the vocals, everything didn't just hit. I mean, it's better than better. And that song is, I don't know if it can be eclipsed as far as rock and roll is considered.
So I would guess that your number one has a city in the name.
Well, the band does, yeah.
The band does it rhyme with Floston?
Yeah.
Okay.
My number one is More Than a Feeling, which it always has been and always will be, because
I'm not arguing with it. I'm certainly not making fun of you because if I had room, I mean, if we were talking top 100, it would certainly be probably in the top 50, maybe even the top 20 for me. But
I mean, I would argue this song much like Let There Be Rock. And this one's not necessarily a champion of a certain genre. It's just this song has always hit me as like if somebody put my thoughts, or my feelings about music into a song, or how I wanted it to feel, or how I wanted it to make people feel, or how it makes me feel. It's that song every time. I mean, recently, there have been songs, that song will come on in the middle of the day or whatever, and it will borderline bring me to tears, just the lyrics. I don't know why. I mean, 100% of the time I get goosebumps when it comes on. But the first lyrics, I woke up this morning, the sun was gone, I turned on some music to start my day. It really is that simple.
Yeah, it is.
I lost myself in a familiar song, I close my eyes and I slip away.
That's what we do.
That's what this podcast is about.
Yeah.
That's what my life is about. I mean, there are obviously, 10,000 other things I do, work and family and whatever. But at the end of the day, there has never been another song written that speaks to me the way More Than a Feeling by Boston does. And I'm not sorry for it. There's no apology because it's opinion. But
no, I agree with you. I think that as far as words and music, I'm certainly, I wasn't a huge Boston fan when I was younger. I kind of picked that up as I went along, and that song certainly sticks out for me. And it makes me wish that I would have swapped my last two. Again, they're not in really any order. It's just the first one I wrote down. But I will constantly go back to this song when I need inspiration, when I need music, when I need vocals, when I need story, when I need guitar. And it's not even, I mean, do you think you could even guess the band?
At this point, no.
Okay. So it's The Great Divide by Scott Stapp. And it's not even Creed backing him up. It's a different band backing him up. But that song is...
Wow, off his solo album, really?
Right, yeah. That song is... It's how I feel about pretty much my entire life. So to put that in the song is and we're both fans of Creed. I love his voice. I love the way he sings. I love the way he writes. I love the way he writes words. Yeah. The band actually did a semi good job of almost emulating what the Creed sound was in that song. So it was kind of Creed-esque.
Right.
So it reaches out to me every single time I hear it, and I don't even have to turn it up. Just sitting and listening to the music and the words together really just fill me with everything I need at that point. So,
yeah, there's Let Me Go off that album is
another good one
that always spoke to me. But that's what it's about. I think that to kind of tie a bow around this podcast, that's what this is about.
Yeah.
Just get you some.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I said, if it is Freebird, let it fly, man.
Yeah.
Crank
Turn
it up,
roll your windows down,
and scream it. Just get you a pull, whatever. I left off, 50 songs by bands that I listen to daily.
Right.
Because they're not, and I love the songs. There's great songs, but these are the ones that kind of spoke to me that speak to me in a different way. Not just, it's a great song, and I go on about my, or skip the next song on Pandora or whatever it is, and then, it's another great song. Oh, cool, and listen to that and then move on. These are the ones that stick out that I keep coming back to. And this is, again, marginally interchangeable, except number 1, because my number 10 could fit number 2. I could exchange Cumbersome for Roxanne tomorrow, and I wouldn't even feel bad.
Right.
But there's a lot of bands that I listen to on the regular that didn't even make the the cut.
Well, and again, like you said, it's more. This was more a kind of a snapshot in time. I don't want to pigeonhole us into this is the music we listen to all the time.
Right.
It is kind of a snapshot of what we listen to most of the time now. But it was also, nail it down for songs that go to the next level. That yes, I love music, and yes, I love to listen to all kinds of music, and I'll love to put a song on or turn it up and make it loud. But there are songs that reach me different. They touch me at a different level,
right,
than certain songs, and that's kind of where I wanted to go with the list. So
absolutely, I have 2 honorable mentions though, real quick.
Yeah,
if you
let's hear them. Yeah, let's hear
them. One was "By the Way" by Theory of a Dead Man.
Interesting.
That's not gotten a lot of. I think, their new album, that RX, or that was number 1 song for 6 or 8 weeks in a row or whatever. But I've always liked Theory of a Dead Man, and I've always thought they've been on the border of, they've been kind of gimmicky and campy at times, but the song "By the Way" is really, really musically well done and lyrically good, and the performance is not over gimmicked. And I've caught myself listening, like searching that song out and going back to it and listening to it intentionally. So that kind of gets an honorable mention. And what was the other one? Oh, one that I've always, since high school, kind of felt like an old concert T-shirt was "Personal Jesus" by Depeche Mode.
Weird. I wouldn't even have considered that on your list. Wow.
Yeah, I've always just kind of I've always liked Depeche Mode, and that song is always. I know it's got radio play and whatever, and it's been redone, and Manson even covered it. Marilyn Manson even covered it. But it's just, again, it's kind of like an old friend. If I but I have, intentionally seeked that song out and found, like look it up or YouTube or whatever, or download it or whatever it is, or, I have a Depeche Mode station on Pandora. Don't tell anybody, but, that's always been, those are my two kind of off the radar, kind of guilty pleasures, I guess you'd call it like that, but, that have always been, and, the Theory of a Dead Man is obviously more recently because it's a relatively new song, but Depeche Mode, I think 91 or something that came out early.
Man, I couldn't even tell you when that came out.
Yeah, the Violator album to me is an amazing piece of work, and if you're a fan of, I hate to say electronica or pop, early 90s pop,
Yeah.
It's a great album. The Violator album's a great album. There's a lot of great songs on it. Enjoy the Silence.
Yeah, that's a good song too. Yeah,
there's a lot of great songs on there. But Personal Jesus and By the Way by Theory of a Dead Man are my two kind of. And I know because you did too. But I mean, I had 35 other ones. But
well, I can't let it go without at least throwing some type of parting shot at you.
Absolutely.
And it is kind of my honorable mention, and only because of pure nostalgia reasons. The reasons the song is not very good. It's not well written. It's funny. It's a silly song, but
Dangerous Toys.
No, no, that'd be funny though. Cover of the Rolling Stone.
Oh yeah. That came on the radio. We were in Melbourne, kind of on a long weekend thing, and it came on the radio in the car, and I had to pull into a parking lot. I couldn't hold it together. I was laughing so hard, and my wife, God is my witness, you'd have thought I had lobsters crawling out of my ears. I had the windows down, and I mean, top of my lungs. Never missed a song, never missed a word, never missed one. It's been 10 years probably at least since I've listened to it. And
I mean, we grew up with that music, like I mentioned before, and I actually mentioned a Dr. Hook song before as well. But I just,
if you don't get a big, you'll never get a bigger like mocking of the I guess the powers that be in the music industry than that song.
Well, I think I put it on there to make a point though too, is although we love these songs and they energize us and they fuel us, there's still something to be said for nostalgia. There's still something to be said for
absolutely
a song that you loved when you were really little and it just sticks with you. It's not necessarily a great song, doesn't pump you up, doesn't, make you fly into a rage or bring you down from being angry or something. It's just fun. Yeah. And, don't be afraid to put those songs on your list and, kind of to everybody else out there, which, brings me around to what I was going to kind of close us out with. Hey, send us your list,
Absolutely.
musicmusingfeedback@gmail.com. Reach out to us on Facebook, reach out to us on Twitter, on LinkedIn, either Craig Seibert or George Seibert, and give us your top 10 list. I'd love to hear it. I mean, if you even want to throw 20 songs on there, that's fine too, but send them to us. I'd love to start talking about what you got on yours.
Because I literally started with, like, last night about 10 o'clock, I had 47 songs to narrow down to 10. And then when I woke up this morning it was about 6:15, I had 29 songs to get into a top 10.
You were doing the last minute narrowing, cramming. No, that's what I said. I just, send us, if you guys are listening to this, send us your songs. Send us a list of what you got and we can start a conversation about it and, tell us. You can tell us what you think about each one. If you want to write something up, that's cool too.
Absolutely.
Maybe, I can share those on the blog and let people see what they've got. So
sure, and even that might be something. I mean, some of the feedback that we get, we might turn that into a future podcast, maybe, and maybe that's an idea.
Exactly.
Hey, so and so from this place in the country, gave us their list or gave us this input on this song, and here's what they thought. And I mean, it'd be great to mix some of that stuff in and.
Agreed.
Some surprises we're working on. Maybe Craig specifically is working on, guest commentators or having people to speak to different thoughts and process in his podcast, and it's exciting. A lot of good things coming up. So get on board and send us your info and your input, and we'll and try to grow this thing.
Yep. And with that, we will let you all be rock, and rock.
Let there be rock. And the singer turned and he said to the crowd,
"Let there be rock."
And
hey, brother, thanks for hanging out with me.
Absolutely. This has been a good one. This has been fun. So
yeah, I'll catch up to you later.
All right, man. We'll see you.
Yeah.